Nehemiah chapter 6. I will read verses 1 to 4 as we're considering this youth recognition, graduates and our kids that are in school going to new levels. Let's look at Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 1 to 4. These are the words that are recorded. This is Nehemiah talking. When word came to Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem, the Arab, and the rest of our enemies that I had rebuilt the wall and that not a gap was left in it, though up to that time I had not set the doors in the gate, Sanballat and Geshem sent me this message. Come, let us meet together in one of the villages of the plain of Ono. But they were scheming to harm me. So I sent messengers to them with this reply. I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it to go down to you? 4 times they sent me the same message, and each time I gave them the same answer. I want to highlight that third verse. He says, so I sent messengers to them with this reply. I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. I want to simply encourage the young people here, every one of us, don't come down. Don't come down. I must have been about 13 years old. My dad was doing lawn work. But he was doing a little more than that. My dad was cutting down trees. He would take me and my younger brother with him. Again, I was about 13 years old. If you know anything about cutting trees or cutting down trees, then you know that when the person climbs into the tree, that person would be my dad, not me at 13. But when one climbs up into the tree, there are some who stay on the ground with a rope. And what they do is they pull so that the tree will fall in the right direction. I was 13 years old, and my brother and I, we were there. My uncle was down there with us too. The three of us were pulling the rope. My dad, with a loud voice, said, pull, and we pulled. But all of a sudden, around my little 13-year-old ankle, the rope caught my ankle. Before I knew it, the rope caught my ankle and a part of the tree was falling down at the same time. Well, you know that the rope was about to take me up the tree. But like a good father would, my dad came down because his baby, he came down from the work because he needed to. His baby was about to go up the tree. My father had to come down. But when we're doing work, not all the time do we need or have to come down. Yet and still, humanity finds itself coming down. I mean, let's consider biblical examples. Jonah was told to go to Nineveh. He came down from the work, found himself in the belly of a big fish. Jonah came down. What about King David? David was a mighty warrior, a king, a poet, great man, but his indiscretions with Bathsheba. Oh yes, David came down from the work. Humanity has moments when we come down unnecessarily. Today, even in 2017, there are people coming down from the work. For whatever reason, they come down. Some say they're too old, and so they're going to let the young people do it, coming down from the work. Some people say that they're too young, and they'll be serious about God after they lived a little bit, coming down from the work. Some can't even conceive of why they don't do God's work. They just choose not to. So they don't even have anything to come down from. But there are some. Humanity comes down from the work. So then young people, some of you are deciding to go to college. When you get there may be a professor who will tell you to look to your left and look to your right. What they'll tell you is that more than likely the person beside you won't be there for graduation. Why is that? Because some college students, they come down from the work. But I like Nehemiah because Nehemiah said, I won't come down. Understand who Nehemiah was. Nehemiah was the cupbearer to the king. He had got word that in Jerusalem the walls had been broken down. The remnant of Judah was in disarray. You see, this was very important because walls were to protect the city from opposing people, from animals entering. The wall was just very important. So Nehemiah asked if he could go and do the work. Now, why would this man ask to do the work if he planned on coming down? Why would you ask God for a job that you plan to quit? Why would you ask God for a scholarship to go to school and you plan to quit? Why would you do that when you don't have to come down? Coming down is a process. The fact is, the enemy is always trying to get us to come down for whatever work that God has blessed us with. It's a process. Consider what they said to Nehemiah. You see, coming down is always extending an invitation. They said to him, come on and let us meet in one of the villages on the plain of Ono. Now, when I heard Ono, I said, oh no, don't go. It doesn't even sound right. Sanballat and Geshem talking about come on down. But Nehemiah examined the invitation. He considered who was extending the invitation. He says, I knew that they were planning their schemes, a scheme to harm me. Young people, every invitation that is extended, you do not have to accept. Examine the invitation, because the fact is, some people don't value your work. Some of you may choose not to go to college, and you'll get a good job that you like, but somebody's not going to value the work. Some of you will go to college. You'll choose a degree program that other people won't like, so then they won't be supportive. But Nehemiah, he did not let them minimize his work. I mean, he had done some, but there was still more to be done. Some gaps were filled, but there was still some more that needed to be done. Why should I allow a distraction to get in the way of my work? Why should I do that? There's an African proverb that says, the lion does not turn around when the small dog barks. Here you are, a lion, behaving like a kitty cat, turning around every time a small dog barks. But you don't have to turn around now. The work is just beginning. You don't have to turn around now. This is not the end, it's the beginning. Nehemiah says, I can't come down. So examine the invitation, but not only that. Remember that because coming down is a process, you get to control the response. Again, you get to choose whether or not you accept the invitation. Nehemiah responded. Look at what he did. The text says that he sent messengers to them. He didn't even come down himself. He delivered a message. Y'all go down there and tell them, because I'm not going down there. So he had that response because he knew that his work was important. He had his very own recognition ceremony. You see, every day won't be like this. You can accomplish some things and people won't be proud of you. You cannot accomplish some things and people will say, you let me down. Well, I'm the one that didn't get to finish it. People will make it about themselves. But Nehemiah had his own recognition ceremony. You have to know how to encourage yourself. He said this. He said, I had rebuilt the wall and not a gap was left in it. I'm recognizing what I've done. Up to that time, I hadn't set the doors and the gates, but I had rebuilt the wall. Look at what you've done already. If no one ever gives you a certificate, if no one ever calls out your name, if no one ever understands who God made you, you know who you are in Jesus Christ. That's my response. I know who I am. I'm Nehemiah, the great builder. No, I may not have a degree. I may not have a PhD. I may not have even finished high school. I may not be going to college, but let me tell you something. It's important for us to have trade jobs as well. Some of these young people, be an electrician, that's all right. Be a bricklayer, that's all right. Do home improvements, that's all right. You see, we get caught up in getting upset when people say that college is not for everyone. But you know what I believe? I believe that college is not for everyone. I believe that life is a school and every day is your class. And if you pay attention, God will make you wise. Because you can go to school and have no wisdom at all. Dr. King said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. Do your job well. Do what you do. Do you. Don't come down. You don't have to come down. Let God show you what your work is. Don't let the world define you. If you don't know who you are when you walk outside of these walls, the world is waiting to tell you who you are. But you tell the world who you are. You walk into a room and don't wonder about what they're thinking about you. You walk into the room and wonder what you think about them. Don't come down. So young people, you're going to go maybe to college. Some of you will go and work a really good job. Be responsible. That's important. You may go get a good job. Whatever it is, just stay in tune with what God is saying. I didn't do the things that I did to impress people. I did the things that I did. My accomplishments is about the work of God. I did not want there to be a limitation on me doing teaching and all these things. That's why I chose to get a terminal degree. Not just so that you can call me doctor, but you ought to because I earned it. But not just because you should call me doctor, but because I know that the systems of the world tries to put limitations on us. So when you go to school and you go all the way, and when you do finish, you start to see pictures of your grandmother in your mind. Lucy was her name, and she didn't get to go to school. You start to see your great-grandmother in your mind. Daisy was her name, and she didn't get to go to school. So it's so much about doing God's work and making our ancestors proud. Why should you go down? Young people, you've reached a milestone today. Many of you are graduating from high school. Many of you are going to a higher grade level. That's wonderful. That's a milestone, but the work is not done yet. You still have more to do. So you cannot come down. I mean, what's down there anyway? Is there a party down there? I mean, what's down? Some girls down there? It's some guys down there. Oh, they're drinking down there. Everything that's going on down there, you don't belong there because God says we are above and not beneath. If you go down there, you may not be able to get back up. Stay up and don't come down. So, God does not specialize in going down. But again, the process, coming down is a process. So there's the invitation, there's the response, but then there's persistence that has to happen. You see, if the Bible tells us that the enemy is as a roaring lion, just seeking whom he may devour and traveling the earth all the time, never resting, then that means that we're going to have to be persistent. every day we're going to have to get up and we're going to have to fight. Every day is your day to fight. That's why I love this is the day that the Lord has made. But then it says I have to do something. The Lord already made the day. What choice are you going to make? I will rejoice and be glad in it. So it's the persistent. Nehemiah stayed focused. He stayed up there. He was hassled at least 4 times. You notice? He was hassled at least 4 times. They sent him the same message. He gave them the same answer. Down is always trying to bring you there. All the time. Same message, but he gave the same answer. So because down doesn't quit, up can't quit. When I was 18 years old, I was a manager at a McDonald's. That's one of the best jobs I ever had. Not just because I made my own money at 18, but because I was a supervisor. So what the job did was it built character in me. It taught me how to be a leader. But I tell you that there were some of my employees, they were older than I was. Sometimes when you're younger, you don't really get respect from older people. Now they ask you to respect them, but they don't show you how to respect. I remember I was 18. So I had older people, you know, that I was supervising. And again, they wanted to take smoke breaks and things like that. Well, you can't always take a smoke break. We have work to do. But there I was, 18 years old. But I remember sitting there at 18 and putting my face in my hands and saying, God, why do you have me to be such a responsible person at 18 years old? I'm 18. They don't want to listen. I'm 18. They don't want to understand my perspective as a young person. I'm 18. Why can't I just come on down from that position of leader? Why can't I just stop? Why do I have to be so responsible so soon? But I remember God saying to me, for the rest of your life, no matter what age we are, for the rest of your life, you're going to face opposing people. They're going to come in all shapes and sizes. They're going to be all kinds of ages. They're going to be both male, female, black, white, whatever. I'm preparing you for the people. So that's why. So young people, you're at a high moment right now. I would even dare say you're as high as you could ever have been until now. I mean, look at you with your caps on and your gowns and your tassels and your certificates and look at you going to the next grade level. And I mean, how much higher can one get? But every day won't be this high. You'll get to a dorm room and you'll feel mighty low. You'll get a good job that you like, but you'll feel mighty low. You'll have some friends, but they won't always understand. You'll feel mighty low. You'll seem that you're going down, down, down. But your parents and your pastor and your friends and family members, they're counting on you. They're counting on you to stay up. They already know that the way is not always easy. But they're counting on you to stay up. So complete the work. Because you must understand that this time here is not the end. Yes, you may have graduated. Yes, you may have attended ceremonies. Yes, we have recognition today. But this is not the end. This is the beginning. But the beginning is a time to get excited. It really is. So when you think about graduation, not everybody will graduate from something. Not everybody has graduated from something, but that does not mean that you can't stay up. In life, you have to make a decision to stay up, and you can do it if you know Jesus. Now, if you don't know Jesus, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you could talk to Dr. Phil. Maybe you can talk to Oprah. Maybe you can have some conversations with some of these psychic people. I don't know. But if you know Jesus, you've got a friend that's always there. If you know Jesus, you won't come down. If you know Jesus, you won't come down because he did not come down from the work on the cross. Do you know Jesus? Jesus, they beat him, but he didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? They put nails in his hands, but he didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? They put nails in his feet, but he didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? They put a crown of thorns on his head, but he didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? They pierced him in his side, but he didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? He stayed there on Friday. He didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? He stayed there Saturday morning. He didn't come down. Do you know Jesus? He stayed there Saturday evening, and he didn't come down. Even until the night. Do you know Jesus? Do you know Jesus? If you know Jesus, then you don't have to come down, because he didn't come down. So he stayed up. He completed the work of death. And so that's why I like it when people say, I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told us that the road would be easy, but I don't think he's brought us this far to leave us. When I look at you today, young and old, I see God in you. Because I see God in you, you don't have to come down, but you can stay up. You don't have to feel like you can't make it. You can stay up. You might not understand all the situations going on in your life, but you can stay up. People might be trying to convince you to come down. This is not today, and tomorrow is not the day either. You can stay up. So because he didn't bring us this far to leave us, that's why some of us get so happy. Because we're determined that we're not going to come down. So when you see me jump up, the only time I'm coming down is to jump back down. You see me come up, now I'm down. And I come up again, now I'm down. That's as close to low as I'm going to get. Because I'm going to praise the Lord. I'm going to worship the Lord. I'm going to serve the Lord. I'm going to work for the Lord. I'm going to do what God has called me to do. So don't you come down now. Don't you sit down because it get kind of tired. Don't you sit down because you don't understand. You got to keep praising. You got to keep serving. And you got to keep working. Don't come down. God bless you.